Hello, YouTube family and community. I'm back. Yes, I am. Back in pocket, back in the saddle, back on the horse. That's right. Hopefully you guys have had, if you guys hear a little rattling going on, I got some pans and pots in the seat, so if you hear a little crashing, it's not the truck and nobody hit me. Anyways, hopefully you guys have had a great new year. I have had a fantabulous new year. I've taken some time to do some reflecting, cleansing of toxic energy from people and different situations. So that period or that season has come and gone. I've went through it and I've succeeded. So I've come out wiser and stronger. And I'm appreciative of that. But I'm back in the saddle doing the things that I love to do. This being amongst one of them. Had the opportunity on yesterday to do an interview. A gentleman reached out to me regarding a business that I started and reached out and wanted to do an interview. And so, you know what, at first I was like, nah, I don't want to do it. But you know what, I went on ahead and did it. So I did upload that. I felt like this would be a good icebreaker to kind of get myself back out doing videos, etc. And so hopefully you guys enjoy this video. And if you don't, oh well, no skin off the back. Hope you do, but if you don't, it's all good. So, hope you enjoy it. Leave your comments below the video. And man, I need to do something to get these pans and pots out of here. All this racket. Leave your comments. And as always, peace. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go.
Well, howdy, folks. This is Ben, and I am glad to be here. Hope you are too. I have Jonathan with me. Jonathan Williams is Jay's Bistro Dogs, LLC, out of the great state of Tennessee. And you can find Jay at jaysbistrodogs.com. And Jay, welcome, and thank you for doing this for us. You know, as I said earlier, it helps a lot of people, and a lot of people are shy to get on the camera. But I'm glad you were willing to do this.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Glad to be here.
Well, tell me something. You've been vending part-time so far. How long have you been vending part-time, and what does that entail? Is that just a Saturday, or is it 3 days a week? What is it?
Well, let me start off by saying when I am fairly new to this, literally, I am fairly new to this. I just got my business, my LLC, up and running about a month ago. So basically, I'm just getting out of the gates, if you will. So I've only had, with the weather here, it's been kind of hit and miss. Like today, it's raining now. So unfortunately, I'm working Monday through Friday. So I kind of had the approach to try to do this on the weekends, Saturdays, to start out with, just to get my feet wet and, get my foot in the door and kind of get the feel of things. So for me, part-time would be Saturdays. Okay.
So you're doing it Saturday, or are you doing like a lunch shift?
Yeah, for the most part, where I'm basically vending, I try to get there, get set up by 10:30 in the morning, usually from 10:30 to about 4 or 5 o'clock, breaking down.
Okay. So it's a good long day as far as,
oh yeah.
It's not like a 10 to 1 type deal.
Right.
So have you found that you still do good business, because it's rare, from 2 to 4, 2 to 5?
Actually, I've not seen that big of a difference. Of course, I don't really have a lot to kind of gauge or scope off of, because I haven't been doing it long enough to really say, well, this is a trend, this is not. I've had less than a month of actual vending to really just go by. But for the most part, you got the crowds that are pretty much, at least where I'm at in the location, the crowds pretty much, people are walking, I get a lot of foot traffic. So from lunchtime to around 2 to 4. It's pretty steady. Right around 4, it starts to die down, which is typically around the time I start to break down.
Okay. Okay. So what is, in this well, I want to know this. What got you into this? What made you go, and I want to tell people you're a commercial truck driver. You drive big trucks, and for a big company, but what made you say, you know what, I'm going to take my day off and start slinging weenies?
Well, actually, before I even knew anything about you, I was looking at a YouTube video and saw someone talking about starting a side business, and they were giving different examples of different businesses that you could start for pretty low cost, relatively. And basically, this came up, having a hot dog vending cart. I said, well, something, that's, originally I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, so I'm very familiar with the actual concept. Used to see that a lot growing up. But I said, well, this would be a nice little side business to have, great investment. Lord forbid that I stop, driving or something happens. I said, I would want to have a business that I could immediately plug in and be profitable from day one. There's not too many businesses that you can point to for relatively a low investment such as this, that you can basically be up and running literally, the same day. So this was, it fit kind of a few categories of why I chose this. Obviously, I do love hot dogs. That's good.
Right.
But
That's good.
but I'm a people's person as well. Always have had that connection with people. So I don't just sell a person a hot dog. It's an experience. And most importantly, you want them to return. So you want to make that first impression, a lasting impression. And they don't just know you for hot dogs, but they know you, as a true, genuine person. So, that kind of goes hand in hand. It's all about dealing with the public, and growing relationships.
That's cool. So do you think you're going to ever go full time with it, or do you think you're going to do it more, push it more?
I think I'm definitely going to push it more, just because by design, I was out a few weekends ago, and I had a lady that came up and she approached me and she says, something, I would really like to do something with you with a school. And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking to myself, like, again, first impressions, we sat, we talked, laughed, and she's actually a teacher at a school that happened to be right around the corner that I didn't know anything about. And she says, I would really like to get with you and, do something for the kids. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is what I initially thought, just something part-time. That's when I began to really think about the power of it. Because to be honest with you, looking at the numbers, if this was something that I really tackled on a full-time basis, and, granted, truck drivers make, pretty decent money, this is something that could actually replace and surpass that, just to be frank. I mean, it is in nearly, half the time as far as what I spend behind the wheel as well.
We got a lot of vendors that are truck drivers. And I do know that many, professional drivers make good money. The negative is the hours away.
Yes.
Is that what you've found?
Yeah, fortunately for me, I'm not one of the drivers. I'm considered a road driver, but my days pretty much, well, I go and then I come back. I'm home every night.
Okay.
Most road drivers, as you hear them, typically they're gone for 3 to 4 days, even some weeks at a time. And if you're really living out there, you're gone for months at a time. Fortunately for me, I'm a company driver, so that does afford me the opportunity to be home every single night. I may run to East Tennessee, Knoxville, something like that, 70 miles out from Knoxville, turn around and come back the same day. Well, would be, in theory, that would be a long day for me.
Okay.
Typically, driving is about 10 hours a day, going 5 hours coming back. So, but even still, I mean, you're still behind the wheel. You're still spending your whole day, 12, 14-hour days.
So if you, one of the things I always preach about is freedom. And if you're in your truck driving, and this is kind of a loaded question, but you're truck driving and you're heading to one of those spots that are 92 miles away, and your wife calls and says, "Hey, you need to be back over here. Somebody's got to drive me home from the dentist. They gave me too much, whatever drug." You can't just park the truck on the side of the road and run home.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
Or any situation for that matter. Yeah.
right. And so that's the beauty of the vending, is the freedom of it. You can schedule it around your other stuff. I love it when I see vendors start part-time and the income there surpasses what they're making full-time. So especially when you just talked about a 10-hour day, where vending on a Saturday, a full day, still at 10 hours.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You mentioned earlier, Jonathan, that that it's fairly easy to start. Did you run into any stumbling blocks getting started?
Well, in my situation, I kind of just started doing research. That was the thing, I guess, for me, that helped me in actually getting out and getting my foot out the door, was doing my due diligence and doing the research. Fortunately, I was able to find a cart in the local area. Actually, the cart that I was able to purchase was one that was actually not like anything that's in the area. I mean, it stands alone. There's not another one in the area that's like it, which kind of gives me that, from a visual perspective, right, a unique perspective. Yeah. So that was something that I kind of was, gravitating towards the first time I saw it. Just kind of did my due diligence, got the information, and, as I say, I just pulled the trigger and went on ahead, did what I did, purchased it, went on ahead and formed my LLC. I was fortunate enough to build my own website, so I didn't have to, come out of pocket for that. Just taking the steps, just going down the list, getting with the health department, getting an inspection done, getting your bank account set up, all of these things. Costco is who I use, and there's a place here that's called Lit Junior. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's kind of like a store that you can go to and basically get supplies as well. So, just basically just going through the steps and getting everything, setting up your business legitimately, if you will.
Well, and, I love that you did that. I mean, I teach people that, obviously you can start with a self-employed as a sole proprietor. And as long as by December 31st you switch it, they retroact it all the way back to the first of the year. That way, right, you get the benefit of being a corporation. But during the year, if something was to happen, you don't have that benefit. You have the benefit tax-wise when you switch, but the protection-wise of a company, a corporation, right, is better throughout the year. So do you have help now, Jonathan, or are you doing this all on your own? You go out and shop, you go out and get the stuff?
Oh, yeah. Pretty much, I'm a one-man band. I go out, shop, get everything. I do have a couple of people that, have helped me out in the initial, launching, if you will. I didn't know what I was going to encounter. So I felt like, well, you know what? Let me get, one or two people to come out here just in case, something happens, some mad rush of people come up to the cart and I'm not able to keep up. So it was the first day, it was very nerve-wracking. I'm not a person who is a stranger to businesses. This is not my first business, but this is my first business of this kind. So it was, I guess, for me, the excitement, the nervousness of just engaging in something more, being in territory that you've never been in before. Right. And by the way, before I forget, I actually watched a lot of your videos. It was after I saw that initial YouTube video that I spoke of earlier. I started doing searches on hot dog cards, and who would you know's face popped up? You. So I started really, looking at your videos. And before I was even through with the process of buying the cart, going through all the steps that I just told you about, I had a lot of valuable content just by looking at your videos. And for those that are going to see this, and I'm not just saying this, but for those that are going to see this video, do your due diligence. This man Ben knows what he's talking about. He's got a wealth of information for the beginner, the novice, the advanced, whatever your level is. He's got the information, and he's going to answer the question. If you just go to his website and type in, you're going to find something. I was just on your site last night and looking up some stuff. So, yeah, it was just basically just doing my due diligence.
That's awesome. How have you done so far? Like I know you just got started, but the 2 or 3 times you've been out, how does that feel? Like, was there a bad day yet? And
yes,
and you have to tell me about that. Go ahead.
I was thinking it was the second Saturday that I went out.
Okay.
I get everything loaded up. Okay. Everything's to the site. I get everything offloaded, set up, and I realized, I said, okay, well, let me, get my water turned on, so I can get my sanitizing water, my dishwater, rinse water, place where I can wash my hands.
Right.
I just filled my tank up, the night before. Well, the way my setup is basically I have a battery that goes in the cart, and there's 2 wires that hook up to the battery. I don't ever keep that hooked up just for the sake I don't want to drain it, and then I'll take it out and charge it. That day, and the actual distance from where I was set up was so significant that it wasn't something that I could just pack up and leave. I had forgot the battery, so I had no water. The second day, literally, I had no water.
Now, are you saying water for your pans, water for hand washing?
But for nothing.
No,
Nothing.
I'm saying, what do you use your water for? Your onboard
Oh,
water?
yeah. My onboard water I use for like my pans, and then hand washing and sanitizing stuff, wiping the cart down, utensils and all that.
So what do you do?
Well, fortunately for me, Ben, I actually had something told me to do this. The night before, I went and bought 2 of those 5-gallon water containers that they use on the water coolers.
Yep.
I went and bought 2 of those. I don't know why. I just said, well, maybe this will be easier, to fill them up, fill my pans up, and I'll just have that, for my water to. And I went and bought 2 of those, and that was the only water that I had that day. And ironically, it was like, wow, okay, if I hadn't had that, then I would have basically been at a standstill. I would have had to basically go get the battery or go buy some water.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I was in a location, it was like in a downtown area, so it wasn't like you could just, pack up everything and leave, just for some water's sake, or just go get some water. So
yeah, I get you. I have a checklist, and even our pro Vendors United guys, they'll forget stuff, and so Michael Wood made a checklist that we all share, because it inevitably, I mean, we've had vendors forget their hot dogs. We had a vendor go to an event and didn't bring his hot dogs. He brought the buns and stuff, but he didn't have his hot dogs.
Where's the beef, huh?
Yeah, where's the beef? Exactly. It was at the house. So the second thing I wanted to mention is always remember, if you have jumper cables, you can jump it straight from your car to your pump if it's a regular DC current, which would give you water. Third, the fact that you bought those jugs, brilliant move. I teach it because I never liked to fill my pans from the cart. I wanted my 5 gallons of water on the cart, my onboard water, to be just for hand washing, utensil washing. And then for filling pans, I always kept the jugs. And
right.
It's a better way to go. I finally moved away from those, the big water jugs that you flip over, that are just awkward to tote around, and got containers. They're called Aquatainer, and they're blue jugs. You can buy them at Walmart for $6, and they hold the 5 gallons, but they even have a 7-gallon, but they have a handle on it and an easy spout. Those big jugs, man, I hated filling them with it, but I did it for over a year. So it's just one of those things. So that was your worst day, but you still did good in sales, right?
I did decent in sales. Yeah. Since I've started vending, I can't really say for the amount of time that I actually was out there that I've had a bad day. And then, of course, what's a bad day when you can earn money that you didn't have anyways?
Right.
You know.
That's true. I meant to ask you this earlier, Jonathan. Where are you getting your products? Like right here in the beginning, are you going to the grocery store, or have you already set up with, Cisco or IJ or?
Well, I'm set up with Costco. Also, as I mentioned earlier, there's a place called Lit Junior. They're like a restaurant distribution that's actually open to the public. So and Kroger's. I can get a lot of good deals and things from them. They run a lot of good sales on things. So a lot of times I can pick up stuff from them.
Well, because you've done your due diligence and all that stuff, and you already have it down, you've obviously got a resale number, a tax resale ID. You ought to go to your Kroger, whoever you're buying from the most, that's not a wholesaler, and introduce yourself to the store manager and go, hey, I've been getting my products here. Food Line's offered me 10%. Can you match that, or would you be interested? And I'll buy all my buns, my condiments, my dogs, and they will. Every one of them will, and they'll give you a whole. Oh yeah, the restaurants go in there and do that as well. They do it as backup because they're typically bringing in food from a distributor. But if they run out of something, meat patties or hamburger or buns or something, they'll run to the grocery store. Well, they ain't paying the store price. They're paying. Right. They're getting a wholesale or a discount. So just keep that in mind. Just to introduce yourself, give them your card and go, hey, I'd like to get stuff here. I wanted to see if you could give me a discount on this stuff. I'll give you my tax number, and they'll go, yeah. Food City. I don't know if you mentioned that one. Food City. They'll do it in gas. Their gas pumps. So they'll give it to you in gas credit. So I was getting 10% from Food City, which is perfect because I had to buy gas anyway. But for every $1 I spent, I got 10 cents in free gas. Right. So anyway, Jonathan, I appreciate this so much. Do you have anything before we go?
Well, again, it's just been from the start, I've had a great experience with this. In fact, just on yesterday, I was out taking care of some business. Wasn't able to vend yesterday, and just decided to do some networking. Went to a very well-known hardware store, and just walked in. Asked to speak to the management, and the individual I spoke with gave my card. I just said, "Hey, listen, guys, be interested in having a hot dog cart, here on Saturdays." And they were like, as a matter of fact, yeah, we would. I'm like, okay, first time out now, Ben, first time doing this, just no script, no nothing, just walking in off the street, cold. You say cold talking, cold calling? I'm cold talking.
Cold talking.
And yeah, cold talking.
And you didn't that's 2 now because the school, and you didn't even have to go out and pitch the school. The school came to you.
They came to me buying a hot dog. She came up and bought a hot dog and then pitched that. And so I'm like, and this is, when I tell you, this is a high foot traffic area. This is like the mecca of like traffic. You got cross traffic. I mean, every direction you can throw a stick at, you got people right there. So I'm sitting there, Ben, and I'm like, wow, did this just happen? Like literally, did that just happen? So she gives me the number, and she says, you can start next Saturday. You you want to stay confident. You don't want to let them know it's the
How
excitement.
excited.
Right. You just try to play it cool. But the boy, when I hit that other side of that door, man, I was just like ecstatic.
Yeah,
Just
I jumped out, in the air.
yeah,
That's cool when it just falls into place. Because
yeah,
if you act too excited, then they see dollar signs and they're like, for
right.
20%. Or
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. And she even told me, she's like, well, you can set up right here, right here in the parking lot, certain designated area. So little things like that. So it's I have not a single complaint. It's been a great, in the short amount of time that I've been doing this, it has been a great experience. And again, my whole mentality is always thinking for the future. So like I said earlier, God forbid something happens with the job, you never know. This is something that can plug right in and
oh yeah.
keep my lifestyle and my level of living, not only at the same level, but can
And even
exceed.
even if something catastrophic didn't happen, you didn't lose your job. You've got something now that's bringing in extra income. It's going to only get better, that you can have working more just by putting someone on it, somebody that
Yes,
you trust. And now you've created a lot more income because you could have it out 2-3 days a week and be duplicating those Saturday benefits. That is freaking awesome. I want to say thank you again, Jonathan, for being on here. Y'all can find him at Jay's Bistro. That's Bistro dogs, DOGS. He spelled it like normal. And .com. Jay'sBistroDogs.com. Look him up and give him a follow. Thank you again, brother.
hey, I appreciate you, Ben. I'll keep in touch as always.